Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel IT Audit with Deborah Jeremy. So today I'll be sharing with you some of the blunders I made as a new IT auditor, and of course this was like 5 6 years back, so don't judge me with these blunders right now. And the truth is that in reality, if you listen to some of these top leaders, senior leaders in IT and other professions, you also know that they've made their own fair share of mistakes, and the important thing is that you learn from these mistakes and you keep growing, basically. So the number one blunder I would say I made was not asking enough questions, or maybe not asking the right questions in some situations. So for example, maybe some of us, like someone like me who is an introvert, there's already a natural tendency that when you're in maybe a group, or when you're in a public space, you kind of tend to not ask questions freely. So, and then when you now add it to the fact that maybe you are new to an organization, new to a field, new to an office, there's a tendency that you don't ask questions. You tend to keep to yourself. So, these are some of the mistakes I made as a new IT auditor. And, for example, I can be in the office, and then, maybe the senior auditors or the managers, they are discussing, and you start hearing some, audit jargons and all, and you're like, oh my god, what's this? Is this a mystery? you know Instead of asking right there and there that, okay, can you please explain what this term means, or I don't understand this. I tend to go to like Google, YouTube, and then of course those things are good, when you do your personal research and all, but sometimes it might just be faster when you just ask the person that already knows it. Oh, what's the meaning of control? The person tells you right there and there, instead of going to YouTube or Google, where sometimes Google can give you different things and you end up even getting more confused. So I'll say my number one blunder was not asking enough questions. Asking people that are already ahead of you questions, such that you get ahead of things faster. Okay, so the second blunder I would say I made was, asking vague or very close-ended questions during audit walkthrough. So, of course, if you are new, if you don't know what audit walkthrough is, it's a process carried out by an auditor during the audit process, whereby you try to understand an auditee's day-to-day activities, their procedures, basically what they do and all that. So that's what audit walkthrough is. And then if you're asking close-ended questions, for example, do you have a policy? The answer is yes or no. Is the policy approved? Yes or no. Those are close-ended questions. So if you ask those type of questions, you are not really helping the auditee open up, to share more information with you as an auditor. So in that instance, you could have said, oh, what policies or procedures do you have in place for, say, security monitoring? That way the auditor will be able to say, oh, I think we have an information security and something monitoring policy. Oh, I think we also have this. That way you've left the question a bit more, interactive and engaging. So, that's one. And then let me give another example. Okay, so let's say during the walkthrough, I say, oh, something like, oh, I'm Deborah Jeremy. I'm the auditor assigned to carry out this audit. The audit is about digital transformation and strategy. So can you walk me through your process? You know, most auditors will just be like, where do I start from? So, that's kind of vague. You've left it too blank. So in that situation, you can, start from a particular risk area to focus on. You can say, oh, can you talk me through your digital strategy? you know that's that's a bit more specific than, hey, can you walk me through your process? So though that's like the second blunder I will say I made as a new auditor in the field. So if you have watched up to this point, kindly like my video, subscribe, and share with your friends. And so let me go to the third point. So the third blunder I will say I made as a new IT auditor then was, getting overly excited about exceptions. Things like asking a fellow auditor, oh, have you found exceptions? How many exceptions did you find? Oh, I've gotten high risk exceptions. Or, it felt like an achievement when, I got exceptions. And sometimes if you go to an audit with that mindset, it makes the auditees tense, though, so it feels like an exception hunting exercise. It feels like you're trying to unravel something just to get issues, even if there are no issues. And the purpose of audit is not to hunt for exceptions, it's basically to improve an audit's process and eventually add value to that process. But if you go with the mindset of trying to get exceptions, eventually the audit experience might not be nice. So that's the third blunder I would say I made as a new auditor, being too concerned or too interested in getting exceptions instead of trying to see how I can improve an audit's process. So it's just that mindset shift really, and it makes a whole lot of difference in the audit process. Okay, so the fourth and last blunder I'll be sharing in this video is believing what auditees say, hook, line, and sinker. Some auditors can lie. you know you'll be carrying out an audit walkthrough, and then the auditor will tell you, oh, we have daily checks, we have weekly checks, we have monthly checks, we have a standard operating procedure, documented standard operating procedure, we have policies, and you're like, oh wow, that's so nice. And as a newbie, you might not even say, oh, can you just share with me those SOPs and policies. And then by the time I go back to the manager, the manager is like, oh, can you tell me, what went on with the auditees and all? And then, you share the experience and, oh, they have this, they have that. Oh, where is the evidence? At that point, you're like, oh, they said they had this. So an audit is incomplete without evidence. You know, if you can't see it and you can't validate it, then you can't assume that it is existing, or that this process or these checks are really happening. So the last blunder, or that I'll be sharing in this video, is not getting evidence of what the auditors say they are doing, basically. Okay, so these are like four of the blunders I've made. Of course, there are still so many, but for the purpose of this video, I've shared four blunders that I've made as a new auditor. And what's the purpose of this video is just to let you know that people make mistakes. So if you are new, you can make mistake, and it's okay to make mistakes sometimes. But the important thing is learn from those mistakes and keep growing. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.